Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mortal Kombat spoilers review. I am not Trash Snail. I am Sub-Zero, and I'm joined by the man with his hand up.
Fucking taking my name.
I am the. I'm just gonna say it as it is. I'm the Scorpion Taylorfield, Scorpion wannabe. So I'm curious. Why I love that what you did for the intro, but I'm curious, why didn't you mute the Baron Zemo dance theme? Because I was really confused on how I should feel. Like I wanted to be Mortal Kombat, but I'm thinking, yeah, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
So, because you heard a mix, right? You heard the Mortal Kombat theme, and then you heard his theme.
Yeah, it's copyright reasons, right? You're trying to hide it.
Yeah, because that's the only reason we could use. I had to have his theme in there a little bit so YouTube couldn't track, because that's why that video's labeled number 2, because there is a number 1 and there's a 0.5, and those ones got caught. So that one has the Baron Zemo audio, and I put a car radio filter on the Mortal Kombat music, and it's actually a trance dance version of the Mortal Kombat theme. It's called Syndrome, I think, something like that, and it's like really trippy. So yeah, for the video people, that's why you had this weird version of a Mortal Kombat theme, because I thought, a weird version is better than no version of Mortal Kombat. If this was some regular whatever cast, I'd say, oh, maybe we get the copyright, but it's like, you know what, not today. But we're joined by the man that apparently I stole his nickname.
I am the chosen one, Kirklin. I was Sub-Zero, but that name was taken from me from my cold hands.
I'm taking it to Kirklin. Well, I did it for a specific reason with some own spoilers, and then finally we're joined by.
I am the flawless victory, Jessica.
Very nice, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what's going to be flawless? This ad read and all our links. Because Taylor, where can they find us on the interwebs? If you don't know, this is a review. We're going to give our overalls, some links, and then we're going to drop an ad break, and then we're getting to spoilers. So we will let you know if you've not seen it, if you're just here for the overalls, if you're living in Canada going, oh, should I buy this on POV? Should I get HBO Max? Should I go see in theaters? We will give you our initial thoughts, and then we'll get into spoilers. But Taylor, where can they find us on the interwebs?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar, GeekVerse.ca. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook. Be sure to check us out on our Facebook, because in celebration of this cast and spoilers review that we're doing right now, we're doing the fan-based Mortal Kombat. Fuck, I fucked it up. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat fan-based community poll. It's popping off. It is Johnny Cage versus Sonya Blade right now, and Johnny Cage has the lead.
How big is that lead right now? Because I saw last time it was like by 6 or 7, so it's like it's still doable for Sonya, but has it grown quite a bit?
It is around. I want to say it's in around 10, give or take, like 1 or 2. So it's close.
18 to 8 currently.
Yeah. So I feel like he's probably gonna get it. I threw my vote Sonya just because I'm on the Sonya hype train right now, but. Yeah, it's going to get interesting because we're at the semifinals for that poll. So check us out on our Facebook.
I hope she wins, so you can just use something like, a gift from Gano. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, do that. And we're coming down to the finals there. And then after that, I think, Taylor, the polls will be on a break for a little bit, give you like a little rehab session, right? Because you've been popping off with a lot back-to-back. And then we'll come back hot and heavy. But we just did Falcon Winter Soldier, just had its season finale, and you want to check that out because on Monday we're going to do a newscast and just popping off our huge news coming out of that show, but find out what our thoughts were on the whole season and the finale episode. Really good discussion there. Lots of good conversation in the group chat. Thank everyone who joined there. Next week we'll have newscasts on Patreon. You can get ad-free exclusive early episodes. You can get the Mortal Kombat Annihilation commentary track right now, but you can also get the first 2 episodes later on this weekend of the Harry Potter retrospective. You got the first one up there. Chamber of Secrets is going up there, so we're going to be recording all of those, and they will be going up next year. Like this stuff you're getting like over a year early. So if you want right now, head over to Patreon. There'll be other exclusive stuff there. Lots of other perks. You can join After 9 show, recommend a movie for us to review. Stevie, if you're watching this, you want us to watch a movie, and I need to know what the movie is. So that's why I answer your Patreon messages. Always do that, patrons. If you check it every once in a while, because maybe I'm trying to get a hold of you, say, hey, we need you. So check that out. Subscribe to the feeds here. Leave a review, a subscription, a written review, a 5-star review. That would help us out kindly. Check out our podcast network. 7 days a week, 9 shows covering all kind of geekdom and whatnot. Usually every week there's a Twitch stream. Is there a Twitch stream this week? I know it was all up in the air because of the Rocket League thing, or is that going to be next weekend?
It's safe to say it'll be a next weekend.
Okay,
thing.
so
Yeah.
stay tuned. I'd say probably, hopefully, because we don't have Falcon Winter Soldier, but I imagine by the next newscast, which is Monday, you guys will kind of have like a
Yeah.
general idea what's popping off. So yeah, check there. Yeah, there was some fun scheduling that went on this week, but yeah, we were doing 4 casts a week. We got the 4 feeds, so check that all down in the description below. I'm gonna throw it to Kirklin Patzer because Kirklin Patzer, I feel like every day is getting hyped and hyped. When this trailer dropped, he actually went and bought the last Mortal Kombat, so the hype was real. So I want to know, was this movie real? Because you know what it's time. You know what it's time for. It is time for the Mortal Kombat review. Go ahead.
Thank you for the intro. We got to do
Yeah,
that
you
more
know what
often.
that means. It's time for Mortal Kombat review.
Yeah, I mean, right off the hop, I'm a little disappointed it didn't just open with the Mortal Kombat theme. I was expecting that, but didn't get it. I started watching like the first 8 minutes, I think, last night, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait for tomorrow. I want to save the hype for this. So I want to, whether it's something surprising or shocking, I want to see it on the big little screen that I got. So, but yeah, overall with the movie, I really like this film. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's definitely not a perfect film. I think there's some character stuff that was a little flat for me, or fell a little flat for me. But overall, like all the combat, I loved. Overall, it was just so action heavy, and it was like well choreographed. And I thought a lot of the characters looked really good. I think the casting for the characters was really good, but like maybe just like the script or even their line deliveries might not have hit all the time, but there's definitely characters I like a lot more than others. But overall, I'm really happy with the cast. And like I watched it with Shay, and she has no interest in this, and even she was like, for a video game movie, like that's actually pretty impressive. Like she wasn't just shitting on it the whole time, so I was pretty impressed there. But yeah, I was really happy with this, and it left me just wanting more. It was like same thing I said at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier finale. I'm like, this got me wanting more, and same thing here. So overall, really positive.
All right, I'm gonna change up and I'm gonna go because I know Taylor's thoughts, but I have no idea Jessica's thoughts. So I liked the movie. I watched it in 2 parts, and I don't know if maybe because I watched the first half last night at 2 a.m. is that why I enjoyed it more. But my kind of non-spoilers version of how I explain this movie is, if let's say you get a homework assignment, right? And let's say it's due in a week. That first night, you're like, oh, I got so much time. This is great. You're working on it. You're doing stuff. And then throughout the week, you're like, oh, I'm going to do it. And then it's like the night before and it's due at 12:01 and you just rush it and you got to get everything done. You're making, you're using lots of thes and likes in the thing just to make the word count bigger. And that's how I feel like this movie where I won't say loved. I loved the very opening of the movie, but I'd say the first half an hour of the movie I really liked. I thought they were on the right path. I thought they were doing this great thing of like mystical fantasy elements, but really based on real world and taking it seriously. And then there's 2 things that happened. That one, we got thrown tons of characters and tons of storyline really quick in the middle. And I think that I know it's Mortal Kombat, and that's going to be the problem. We'll probably talk about this review, but it's just like the amount of characters and stuff you have to introduce is just, it's sometimes too much in the amount of backstory. And 2, I feel like it started to go back and forth between, is it trying to be super serious or is it trying to be campy? And that my thing is like the 1995 version. I love that movie because it's just full on cheese and camp. And I can watch it because it kind of has that good bad effect. This, I wish they kind of stayed in one lane for me as my overalls. I wish they either stayed the whole seriousness, and I think they tried near the end, or they got a little bit more campy. And we'll talk about spoilers, but there's a few things that really disappoint me. But I enjoyed it quite a bit at the beginning, but then near the end, I was like, I liked it, but I just like I guess the bad thing is I didn't leave this being like, I don't know the next time I'm gonna watch it. I like some scenes from there. I like some characters, some casting. I also think there's some characters and acting that is not great and not written. So I don't know. I liked parts of it, but I don't think I'm dying to see it again. But I do want more in this world because I just like Mortal Kombat in general. I'm not even the biggest fan. I played them a lot when I was younger, but yeah. So I enjoyed it, but it's definitely like, could I say this is a good film? I'll wait to the end of the review to get to that because I feel like I've been struggling that the whole time. But I enjoyed it, and I think that counts for something. So that's good. So Taylor Field, we'll leave Jessica for last. Actually, Taylor Field, what did you feel about this film?
So, I mean, if you have me on Twitter, you could obviously know because I was popping off on Twitter. Like this. Actually, I'm gonna read what I specifically said on Twitter because it's not even a spoiler.
It's got a script.
Yeah.
Paid off by WB. You shall.
Warner Media.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat is one of those rare gem movies that fits into my no fucking reason category. This film is purely delightful and is making the steel case shelf easily. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's a 10 out of 10 right there.
You're leaving it at that? Okay, Jessica.
Yeah, I mean that's as you're watching it, you're in the chat of the GeekVerse chat. This movie's fucking great. Can't wait for the steel case.
I loved it.
this movie. This
Holy
was a
fuck,
ride.
we got a couple of those in.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on it are I had fun watching this actually. I will be honest, I haven't seen any of the other Mortal Kombat movies. I really know nothing about the games, the lore, the storyline, nothing. A lot of my notes, even like Harpy, Lightning Guy. Well, I know Lightning Guy, but they're all just things that I'm like, I have no idea what their names are. So this is the most kind of descriptive thing I can do to make notes because I have no idea who I'm talking about. That being said, I had a really great time watching this. I had fun. I think there was some really fun kills in it, which is exactly what you're going for. A lot of the one-liners actually really hit for me. I laughed, like an actual laugh a couple times, not just like that nose air snort that people do. So I had a great time. I think it was worth the time to watch it. And I'm excited to kind of discuss it with you guys a little more. And I do have some questions. Like I said, my only experience with this is playing it at the arcade for like 1 or 2 quarters and then getting pissed off that I can't win and moving on with my life.
That's tough.
It's tough.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take our first ad break. As we say always, we don't choose the volume in these and we don't choose the ads. They just help support the channel, grow it. They help kind of keep the nice Scorpion and Sub-Zero lights on. So you're going to get an ad break and then we're going to be right back with spoilers. All right, we are back. We're getting into spoilers. So if you've not seen 2021's Mortal Kombat, this is the time to leave and come back later once you've seen it. So where would you guys like to start on this this quest, this journey, this tournament that never was?
I think we should start right at the beginning because this is the same thing. We got the 7-minute reveal they put out a few days early, and I think that's just like it's such an unexpected thing. I think that'd be a good starting point.
Can I just ask, is this guy the main guy? I don't even
Hanzo Hasashi.
No,
Is that you're referring to? Or are you talking about Bihan? Or are you talking about Ashley Cole or whatever his name is? Cole Young.
Cole.
Ashley Cole.
What's his Mortal Kombat name? Like, who is this guy, or is this just a movie specific guy?
His name is Cole Young, and he was added to this movie. He's not in any of the games.
Okay, I did some googling. I was like, I don't know who this is supposed to be.
When I first started watching it, I'm like, man, they're going for a different take on Liu Kang for sure. And then throughout the movie, I'm like, are they gonna call him Liu Kang at some point in time? And then when we got to the point that Liu Kang actually came on, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy then?
when the Johnny Cage poster came on at the end, I'm like, oh, it's Johnny Cage? Is that like he has a poster of himself? No.
Yeah, no, he's gonna find him. Which is Kirklin told you so. Travis isn't here right now, but I told him that what happened. For
a split second, when Liu Kang was walking in the sunlight, I was like, "Oh my god, is this gonna be like the original actor coming back and reprising his role?" Like it obviously it wasn't. That'd be weird, but it just fits so well. Like he looked like him.
Oh yeah, no. Like as soon as I saw that silhouette, by the sun, I'm like, "This is amazing! Like this is exactly what I was hoping for."
That's Goro.
Yeah, exactly.
So, sorry, if you want to start at the very beginning, we can. That was really bugging me that I had to know who this character was supposed to be. So
Travis,
anyway,
did you know that Cole Young was a new addition going into it?
Yeah, I'd heard that because they obviously talked about that in interviews, and I know Louis Tan. He's been a guy that's been around for quite a while. I think he's picked up some traction when Iron Fist was being cast. There was kind of a big push people saying Iron Fist should be Asian, and he made it kind of not a big deal about, but he was trying to say that he'd be a good candidate for and whatnot. And he's a guy that he speaks out quite a bit. He's quite out there. I like him personally. I think as an actor, I think he's very just fine. I've not seen him be anything like amazing. So I kind of, there's many times where people are like, he should be the next Robin or Nightwing. I go, yeah, maybe. I don't have a problem with the Nightwing being not white. I was like, I just don't. I think Lou Stan is like a fine actor, but he's not that much into it. But yeah, the very beginning, I think that's where I was on such a high, because like it starts off, and that's where I was talking about where it's taking it seriously. We meet, I'm gonna butcher the other people's names, so I'm saying we meet Scorpion, and he's with his family and everything like that. And I do think this is where the budget shows a bit. Like the area looked beautiful, but the amount of like clan people that were there and whatnot, like there wasn't that many people there for this to be like a whole clan of people or ninjas or whatnot. It was just like, I think I saw like 5 guys. So there was times, I think throughout this movie, the budget did show where it's like either 1, this doesn't feel big enough, or 2, some costumes look great and some costumes look very like, this is good cosplay, you know. That's where it's like some got a little bit more time than others. But I loved the setup as far as he's with his family, he's very peaceful right now, he's getting water, and that Sub-Zero shows up and just fucking destroys everything, brutally kills his son and wife, just like, and what an image when he gets back and they're frozen, and very like samurai Ghost of Tsushima vibes. Like the score is great. So like when that the whole thing from the start to the end, when we got the Mortal Kombat, I was in. I was like, here we fucking go. This is a movie. And I think for me, the movie didn't ever get like awful. There's times, maybe there's a few scenes, but I think from there, it just kind of went from a downward trajectory for me, because that opening for me was so high. So I'm actually glad. Taylor, did they release that whole thing online? Because I never watched that 7 minutes.
The whole 7 minutes, it ended right before he got to Sub-Zero, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I'm so glad I didn't watch that, because if I would have seen like almost all that and then the rest of the movie. So that, I guess for me, like I'm complimenting by saying I think that was so well done, where the rest of the movie wasn't up to that par. But I thought it was a fantastic kind of origin story for Scorpion. You get his story right away of why he'd want vengeance on Sub-Zero.
Yeah, no, I loved all that, especially just like the 2 most prominent characters, other than Raiden, would be, you know, Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and then you have them facing off like right at the beginning of the movie. They're not in like the classic attire, but you get Scorpion with his like kunai on the rope, and like I loved him like in those action sequences. It just looks so badass. You get like the more classic one where it's almost like he can like retract it like later in the film, but just when it's a rope there, like I just love that style. There's like a skin you can get for him that has that type of weapon in the current game, and it's just so badass seeing like that old school version of that weapon. That's so iconic. The pull, the get over here.
Oh yeah, get over here. Yeah. What about you guys for the opening?
So for me, like we saw some of this in the trailer, I remember, but the whole scene, it was really, I didn't know who I was supposed to really be watching. So obviously, you know, I know Sub-Zero and, you know, I do know Scorpion, but I didn't know any of his kind of origin story. So watching this, I thought it was just kind of to show, you know, Sub-Zero being, you know, this powerhouse who doesn't give any fucks and just goes and kills everyone. And I figured, you know, obviously the baby would have some usefulness, some storyline, but I didn't know what it would be. But I had no idea that the main guy that died was going to end up being Scorpion. I didn't realize that was an origin piece of it. So I don't know. It was really cool to watch, and I think, you know, this movie would be definitely it was fun because I didn't have expectations because I didn't know anything. But I think it would be fun to go back and watch now, kind of knowing who some of the characters are and how things kind of play out and pieces like that. That being said, I thought it was really fun. I think that I can understand why they brought, you know, all the however many you said, the 5, whatever you called them. I don't even remember now.
Champion, like the champions of Earth. Sorry, who are you talking about?
No, the people that they come to
member
kill.
of the clan.
Clan, yeah, because they bring a bunch of them to try and kill Hanzo, right? And Travis was saying it just seemed really silly when there was only one of them, but he's supposed to be like the greatest ninja of that time or whatever. So I mean, I can kind of understand they're supposed to be saying how powerful the bloodline is and trying to really create that straight from the beginning.
Yeah. So the 2 clans are the Lin Kuei and the Shirai Ryu. And then the Shirai Ryu are basically just like Hanzo, who's Scorpion. I think it's pretty much just him at this point. And then Bihan, who is Sub-Zero. He, like the Lin Kuei. the lore is so like deep cut, and like at one point they all become like fucking cybernetic robots, but like they don't touch that in this film, and I'm kind of glad they don't, because it
So-
just gets complicated.
At this point, it's Han Sub-Zero? Is he a champion of Earth when he
No.
kills Hanzo, or has he magically transferred to the outer world at this point, or whatever it was called?
Like, yeah, so at this point, at the beginning of the movie, when it's like the 1600s, I think it's just like the two clans that hate each other basically, and they're just like bitter rivals, and they've always been competing. And then I don't even 100% know the reasoning on why he just wanted to pop off on Hanzo and murder his family there. But
Yeah, they
maybe
don't
just
really
hate each
answer
other
that at all.
But
yeah.
he would have been an Earth champion, right? Because he activated his Ka or whatever.
It was not his caw. They didn't call it a caw. It
His
was like a con.
Activate
It was
his cock.
uni or whatever.
It's Arcana.
Arcana.
Yeah, I got the subtitles on that. That helps.
So
he
he
would've
would have
been-
been a connie.
Arcana.
Arcana. There you go.
Or
So he would have
Arcana,
been an
whatever.
Earth defender, Earth challenger, champion.
Yeah.
But then I guess he would have been recruited to Outworld, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting because they have like ties to both, because I mean, you saw what happened to Scorpion. He basically just goes to hell, and he's like in the nether realm, so he's kind of not an Earthman after after that point.
No.
And then Bihan, I don't really like. Again, they don't really go into it, but I don't know exactly how he becomes in contact with Shang Tsung and
Well,
those guys.
And this is why, like, and that we'll get into some more of my problems later. But it's probably because I just really love the opening. There's times where I just wish the movie was about these two. I wish that, like, and I'll say this for the movie as well. This feels like this is like few episodes of a show put together. Like we just did Falcon Winter Soldier. To me, I think this would have been actually much better if they did a Mortal Kombat the series, because especially near the back half, the last 15 minutes is just setting up for a sequel that I don't think we're gonna get. I don't know how this is gonna do. Like Kong and Godzilla did well theatrical. I don't know if people are gonna go out to see this and like critically, and like it's very kind of mixed as far as fans right now. Like I've talked, like everyone I've talked to, I was surprised when I talked to you guys. Everyone has been like trashing, and I was like,
Yeah,
I was
I
like the
know.
most positive on it. And then when I talked to you guys, it's like, okay, you guys are positive on it too, but I don't know if there's gonna be more. I think that's one of the bad things of this movie, as far as they try to set up for sequels way too much. But I think with these two characters, they did really well, because Sub-Zero, I love that at the beginning of the movie, he's just like an assassin sent to like take out all these people. That was probably my favorite chunk too, of like he's bumping into Jax, he's bumping into all these people, and he was scary. There was times I really liked the costume, and then there was times where it looked a little Party City. It kind of just
Yeah.
depended on the shot. Like I think it was the shoulder pads, and I was like, maybe they could have like, they just weren't proportioned right, but I think the actor did a good job with his eyes and everything like that. And I think they did a good job with the lore, because everyone's been kind of having that debate now of like this versus the 1995 version, right? And for me, it's like the 1995 version has a special place in my heart because it is so good, bad that I could put on at any point and just like laugh. But I feel like lots of people have tons of nostalgia goggles with that movie on because it was so old, the theme song, but it's just like, we never got no cool Scorpion Sub-Zero fight like this. Like almost
No.
all the fights are so much better in this movie. The effects are better. The effects I won't hold against it because it's the times, but like the fights are better. I think the acting's pretty on par. They take it serious, but I think with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, they did a really good job of fleshing out those characters. I still maybe would have liked to seen a bit more of Scorpion. Like we haven't talked about the runtime of this movie is
Yeah.
only an hour 40, and usually we say, oh, we want like shorter movies, but like for me, I always like longer movies. And I definitely feel, and the actors have already said there's been stuff cut, so let's not get to the Mortal Kombat cuts, hashtags, but like there is times where it feels this movie's been cut up a little bit, and some length would work, but I think they did a good job with those two characters in general, except for I hated when we jump like sometime later and the guy gives his real name, like saying songs like, oh, blah, blah, blah. What's his name? Sub-Zero's real name?
Bihan.
He's like,
Bihan.
oh, Bihan. And he's like, I'm not Bihan. I am Sub-Zero now. And then he just moves on and he's Sub-Zero. There's no like explanation. There's no like, why you like this now. And that's where with
Yeah.
him and other characters, there's a lot of just like jumps where you just got to go with it. So I can have fun with that. But I just thought the movie at the beginning was setting up to be a bit more, I don't know, character based, where there's moments of it, but then it gets very video gamey of like, okay, he's just Sub-Zero now. Cool. He's a nice guy.
There was definitely a time at the end, because I was running late, so I was checking the time to make sure I'm like not gonna be super late, and there was a whole bunch of shit going on, and I'm like, there is 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
I do not know how this is gonna wrap
Yeah.
up in 10 minutes.
I had the same thoughts for sure.
And I just I don't know if I want to talk about the ending yet. So Taylor, what did you feel about Sub-Zero and Scorpion here and their usage?
I thought it was great. Absolutely fucking loved it. Like his Sub-Zero, his whole arc in this was fantastic. I thought it was awesome. And I'm clearly on the Scorpion bandwagon. Like, oh my god, he went full Ghost Rider in this movie. He went to hell, he conquered hell, and he did the whole fucking penance stare, like spitting flames at Sub-Zero. Oh my god,
yeah, that effect when his face was turning into a skeleton.
Yeah,
cool.
Feige's looking at that and is like, I need to get these special effects in the Ghost Rider movie. This is gonna be so good.
That outfit too that he had at the end with the hood and everything. That's the current one, in the current games, and it just looks so badass with the hood. Oh, I love that look.
I'm totally on the other side of the spectrum when it comes to the Party City thing you're saying, Travis. I think the costumes and everything that everyone had, I love so much. And
everyone,
I would say everyone. I really like everyone's costumes.
Sung's costume was good with his big ponytail.
I was digging it. I was digging it.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I got
was
so Sang Sung.
That was the same one that he had in the games though, with the.
And Cabal, no, I'm not saying. Yeah,
Cabal, was so fucking hype.
Where's
this
so
cheap? He looks so cheap.
No, he looks so
good.
No, he looks like one of Gwen's Halloween's costumes. He does not look good.
Okay, you go to Spirit Halloween and try and make a Cabal costume, and we'll
easy. We'll cost me $50. You know.
Oh, his outfit looks exactly the same that the current video game one has. I loved it. I think he looked so cool. All of his effects when he would go fast, I thought all of that looked awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It can look the same, but I'm saying it doesn't look realistic, and not realistic. So I was like, why does he look? I mean, it looks cheap. It looks cheap. It's the same way when Cole gets we're supposed to assume that's metal around his body, right? But then we get all these shots of close up to him, and it's looking like plastic, material, and it's just there's many times where they should have learned, do not do close-ups on certain of these characters in these moments, because it was just that's where Cabal was fun, but then when you get into his clothes and around his neck, it's just man, this is just it just, like I said, to me sometimes looked a little cosplay and not in the best of ways. So yeah, I like Scorpion Sub-Zero's look enough. I still like the classics as far as the sleek and the yellow kind of robes, and I wish Sub-Zero would have been a little more blue. It's a little first world complaint, but just a little more highlights in there.
No, 100%. That was the same thing I thought, because I thought his look overall looked really good, but maybe a little too much armor. It seemed like it was a little too bulky, and I wanted more blue. I wanted just because there's parts he just looked like gray. I mean, a lot of his scenes, especially when he's assassinating people at the beginning, he's kind of in the shadows and it's pretty dark there. But I think near the end, when they have the big Scorpion versus Sub-Zero fight with Cole Young thrown in the mix there, I think his outfit looks a little bit better. Maybe it's just because he's in an ice room and it's just reflecting blue. It's looking a little bit more blue. But yeah, I think deep down I do prefer those OG Scorpion and Mortal Kombat. My gosh, Sub-Zero and Scorpion looks, where it's just a cheap blue outfit, and then he's got the exact same one that's yellow, and it's just I'll always love that one more. But I think I do really, really like the hooded Scorpion one, and then the Sub-Zero. It's probably on the lower end, honestly, out of all the outfits in this movie, for me personally. And yeah, with Cabal, I absolutely am the opposite of you, Travis. I think it looked so good. I loved it. His lines were a little cheesy at times, and I'm like, let's just so good. I'm like, let's just give him being quiet here. But I loved his little hook things that he has, and yeah, I thought he looked awesome.
I gotta pull that line. There's that one moment when Kung Lao's getting his soul sucked, and Cabal has this line, and Cabal's like, oh, so Kung Lao's fighting a bunch of people, and then Sang Sung, who I have so many problems with, I'm sorry, and that's where versus 1995 version, the Sang Sung in that movie, so much better. That guy has so much more charisma and on-screen presence. This guy who's from The Dark Knight, I'm sorry, he's never gonna listen to this. He played this boring as fuck. The guy had no charisma. There's that one moment when the lady devil was trying to I don't remember her name with the wings, but she's touching him she's all sexually turned on. It's no, this guy has the charisma of a fucking white bread toast. It just came off he came off very D-level straight to DVD villain, and I hated that because Sang Sung's very operatic and out there. Look at the Taylor, that gif of "Your soul will be mine," that is Sang Sung right there.
I think it's the meme that kind of made him super operatic and like
no, but
all this.
and here's the thing, and Kirklin can attest to this. He did so well that they've made the game character look like that actor in all these 100%. Years, and that's where it's like it's like Nick Fury turned to Sam Jackson. Then the comics are like, make him Sam Jackson now. Like it was the other way around, but I feel like this actor just had nothing going on. I more talked to him, but anyway. So there's that moment Kung Lao's fighting everybody, and he's like, he does the line like, "Your soul will be mine," and he force chokes him over. And Kung Lao, and I like the effects. I thought that was all cool. He's telling the skeleton, like green stuff's coming out of his mouth. He's sucking it up, and he's like, "Your soul will be mine." And then we cut to Cabal, and he's just like, "Oh, he's about to suck his soul," and it's just like, what, are we fucking dumb? Are we kids here? Like, and it wasn't even a quip. It was just, and then he's just like, "Yeah, I like the way they scream." I hated Cabal.
That was so good.
Much.
That was so good.
Those were the moments, especially anytime they showed up to Raiden's hut, when it's just like Sunshine walking down the hall. That's where it felt like, oh, this is a cheap movie. Like, it's so empty around. Everything's so CG. And it's just like, it's Sang Shung and then like a bunch of screens, a green screen around him. And Cabal, I did not. I was happy he got ate by that fucking Liu Kang dragon because I wanted him out of there. He sucked. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
His powers were cool, but all his lines and dialogue, like even his weird conversations with Kano and stuff, no, that I should have cut all that shit. That was
I totally disagree. I think like Kane, like or Cabal just talking to Kano, like I love that. I love the dialogue that he had. I love everything he was saying. I was just like, this guy is just so like crazy. He's like, yeah, this is the guy that left me like with one lung or something like that. Like he's
30-second origin, and then we just move on.
Again, like his whole costume was absolutely fantastic. It gave me Fallout vibes. I don't even play Fallout, but I was like, oh my god, look at this awesome armor. I love this mech
like
suit.
The Predator.
No, I didn't get Predator at all. He looks like Fallout.
Predator.
He looks like Predator. The way when Predator has this exoskeleton on, the big head, the form, it looks just like a Predator.
And at the end of the day, any dude wearing armor and a sick helmet, they're gonna have extra brownie points for me. Clone Troopers, Predator, Fallout Man, like god damn. But he was just he was popping off. His powers were cool. His voice sounded so cool.
No, yeah, I was not. Jessica, where were you on Cabal? Do you remember who Cabal was?
So Cabal is one of the few that I do remember. Actually, I'm trying to.
It's because you loved them a lot, right?
His lines.
I'll be honest. I did like him. I will agree with Travis though that he looked not good. No. His costume was really bad. It looked very fake. I wouldn't even call it like cosplay level because I've seen cosplayers who can do a better job than that costume. So that being said, I think a lot of his lines and like, you know, kind of his really terrible back and forth with Kano, you know, like I had fun with it. I don't necessarily understand what their background is. You know, they obviously have a background and
yeah. Like I guess Kano he's supposed to be like a crime boss, right? And he somehow screwed over Cabal and like put him in this suit, but that's like the bit like we have to etch in everything. And I'm not saying every character needs like a full backstory, but it would just be weird where like we met Cabal and he's like, yeah, I know Kano, and then we get a minute of them talking and it's like about their origin, and then we never touch on it again. That's where it's like, okay, we didn't need Kano and Cabal, I think, to have this backstory. I think that's where you could have had Sang Sung like show his power, maybe get to Kano, but we didn't need this like third amendment to Kano and Cabal having this like former buddy relationship. It was a strange choice to me. It was really was.
I enjoyed, once again, I didn't know characters or what to expect. I enjoyed his like kind of purple smoky teleport thing that he had going on. I thought that was fun to watch. The scream line was really bad, and it does stick out as one of those ones that was just like, oof, why would you say that? It'd be interesting to me to see, I don't know who the actor is behind it, to know if the actor is kind of as bad as the costume kind of made him seem to be.
Let's find out. I was wondering that because I was trying to think if I knew that voice from anywhere, but I'll do some searching right now.
So Yeah, overall, I mean, I enjoyed him. Like I said, I was kind of a sucker for most of the one-liners in the show. The one-liners, they got me. So I think that's
Josh
part
Ripper
of the
says,
reason.
"Oh, Josh Ripper says Rico didn't say anything. No, he just screamed a lot when Jax kicked his ass very easily. Like that fight went down. Like, oh,
Was that the fight on the bridge?
Hammer
That-
Man.
I have a note that was the worst fight in this entire movie. It was so bad.
I've heard that
I don't
from.
know if it was bad.
I've heard that from 2 other people, legitimately, that have shut up. More in general, I've heard people really shut up that they're disappointed with Jax as a character in general, because I felt like, yeah, I thought it. Well, because he's not in this. He's in this movie for like 6 minutes. He has a great he meets. I keep on calling him Loose Town. He meets Cole. I like that meet cute. I love the scene when Sub-Zero tracks him down. I thought that fight was great choreography, and like that brutal of Sub-Zero slowly freezing his arms, ripping them off, and then even when he falls down, he hits like a bear on the way. I thought the setup was good, and then he takes a nap for an hour of the movie. Then he has his little Steve Rogers arms, which did not look good. This lots of CG. We'll get into it too. Goro, he's looking like Lord of the Rings movies that were made in 1999. The cave trolls look better than Goro in this. There's times where Goro would be in the night, and then the way they've keyed him, he's all white, and you can tell.
We'll come back to Goro. Let's stick with the one.
So. Jax, he had the little arms, which just did not look good. When he's boxing and stuff, I just thought okay, again, the budget of this movie, I actually don't know what it was. I feel like there's some stuff that they just didn't have the room for, and that's why maybe save some of those big CG characters for later on, just do the mixed martial arts people like the Scorpion and the Sub-Zero, where it's ice and fire. But yeah, I don't know, we get the one pep talk with him and Sonya, get up, soldier, you've been through worse, so you can do this, blah blah blah. And then he doesn't have most of these people don't have a character, but I just feel like he's always just kind of there. And yeah, that fight scene on the bridge, he just gets there, beats the guy very easily, and it's he's oh, I think he drops I think doesn't he say I love these motherfucking things? He drops some F-bomb about his arms or something, and he's all badass.
A lot of F-bombs in this movie.
A lot of F-bombs.
Oh yeah, these work.
Yeah, something like that. And then he transforms, but I just can't even remember another scene after that, what he was doing, and even then they do this whole thing at the end we all got to take on Sub-Zero, and it's doesn't happen. Cole just runs into a portal alone, so it was very. I have so much to say about Cole there, but yeah, I think Jax was kind of a letdown. I actually like that actor too. He's I'm in Desperate Housewives and Supergirl.
So my question about Jax is, and I don't know if anyone knows the answer to this, but are these arms supposed to be Earth tech? He unlocks his Akana and it just powers up the arms, and then he doesn't get any other power, so it's just his power is strong version of arms that were Earth tech.
I think all of the Arcana stuff, I think that's just this movie. I don't think that was ever a game thing, because Liu Kang, how he gained his fire ability, he just got that by training with the monks. It's just okay, we'll just go with that, the classic. But I'm pretty sure he was just a military guy, insert Falcon, how he got his suit. I'm assuming it's the exact same thing. He just lost his arms in the military, and then they suited him up with these badass ones. And yeah, I was definitely let down just overall with him, because he is so badass in the games. And yeah.
Does he have any other powers besides strong arms in the games?
Well, he's good martial artist.
Yeah, he's
classic.
trained
That's
in the combat.
Baseline for everyone is that they have good martial arts.
No, I think it's the arms. I think it's the arms and the willpower. That's kind of it. He's the Luke Cage of Mortal Kombat. He's strong. But Taylor, all of us have taken him to cast, and see, this is how I don't feel bad, because I said that you're what, but now everyone else has been kind of disappointed. Tell us why'd you love Jax? Why'd you love Jax?
I love that he was just a hero off the start. I love that he saved what is the main dude's name again? Cole. Yeah, I love that he saved Cole and his family. He was just awesome. He was exciting. And when he went to dance with Sub-Zero, and he's so you wanna hide? And Sub-Zero ran off.
Dance.
Yeah,
I was thrown off there. I was where's he going with this?
It's just that whole arena and setup. And again, I know we saw in the trailer, but just actually experiencing the moment in their fight it was awesome. The bullet being frozen in front of Sub-Zero, and he I love how he inclines his head he's looking at it oh, that's cute. Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
so good.
Sub-Zero was great in that fight.
He's so good.
He was a threat. Like right after that, you didn't want to mess with him.
And then again, like you said, the whole scene where he freezes Jax's arms, and I didn't mind the CGI of like the arms and him. Like it was definitely weird seeing his little arms because I thought, oh no, is this actually what we're gonna get? But I'm totally okay with it. Like when he was trying to save Sonya Blade, and then his Arcana just pops off, and he gets like super Jaxed arms or whatever you want to call it.
Do those come in men's sizes? So I do want to just ask because
oh man, Kirklin, oh man,
because I think that bridge fight scene is the absolute worst thing in this movie. Like I was not enjoying it at all. I thought the acting was bad. It was just painful. But Taylor, you were like, no, I don't think that's the worst at all. What did you think was the worst fight scene in this then?
There weren't any for me. No. Again, this is like I said in my tweet, this is just one of those movies where it's like nothing needs any reason. Like it's just like when I watched that fight scene, it's like it's just these two guys going ham.
I'm not saying a fight needs reason to be good or bad. There has to, like, you have to rank these. If you were to rank these fights in this movie, what would be the worst one?
Probably one of their training fights. Something that was just kind of like not one of the actual real fights, I guess. Just one of their training sessions.
An answer though. You can't call him road. It is an answer. He got you there.
The one thing that just sold me though is just that killer fatality, because I was waiting for him. Okay, he's beating down Reiko, like going ham, like beating his face, and I was like, oh my god, is he gonna do it? And when he goes the arms like this, like, oh my god, I think I scared Madison because I was like, oh, and then he pops him like a little grape.
Yeah, Gwen definitely saw that, and I was like, "Hey, time to leave the room now."
Ready to play some Mortal Kombat 11, Gwen?
Yeah. Well, that's a fun question. What was everyone's favorite fatality? Mine was I loved Kung Lao's hat one when he took Melina and he threw her like a buzzsaw, cut her all the way half. That was like, I was like, fuck yeah, that was great. And that's me, like, that's I have some problems with the movie, but like overall, I did have a fun time. There's times like I generally just laughed out loud, whether it was something actually funny or I just like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like even the point at some point when like Sonya Blade and Kano were fighting in his trailer home and she's just like going through the floor, like popping up. I was laughing so much because like, what the fuck's going on? And she's like, ah, and she like stabbed him, like, ah, like I was like, why is she like a whack-a-mole? And maybe that's something I think it might be some from the games, but I did have like a genuine good time. There's moments, but that Kung Lao hat kill to me was like, that was the prestige one to go for that. So that was my favorite one.
Yeah, and like that was very, very similar to his in the game too. He uses his hat in like the exact same way. So I loved it because when he initially threw his hat, it just like was stuck into the wall, and I'm like, oh, how is he gonna get it back? Like in the game, it just comes back to him, without any explanation. And of course, it kind of happened that way. It just started spinning. I'm like, okay, nice. Like they know what they're going for. They know this is a Mortal Kombat. So that would probably be my favorite. I also still really, really like the Kano one. That probably would have been my favorite if it wasn't for I saw it in the trailer when he just grabs the heart and he's like, Kano wins, because it's just like the exact same voice of like the announcer in the game. So I love that.
I thought you were going to talk about the one that Sonya did to him. And I was like, man, because like we had that and then we had the Jax one. And like that was like that to me felt like I checked the budget. 95 million does not feel like this movie has $95 million on it, but I digress. Like out of all the kills, that one felt like, hey, we don't have any more room. What are we going to do? She's going to stab in the eye with a gnome. I was like, oh, really? Like there's nothing else.
Callback.
It was, but like she could have still just. I would have liked if she would have hurt him with the gnome and then done the fatality. Well, she does get a good one later on when she like shoots the wrist rock. Yeah, and like I like that. I just thought like Kano got like a really lackluster finale of just like, okay, gnome to the eye, he's done, and then she just says like, "Fuck off, bruh," or whatever she says. Like, okay, let's move along from this scene, please. She didn't, but she called him. That's what it was. It was mate. She said, "Fuck you, mate," and she like pushed his hand off. I was like, okay, let's move along from this scene. We don't need to hang here or anything more. Those two I liked and disliked at times. So
I will totally back with the harpy kill. Like I put a note that I was just like, that was beautiful. And then when he stands up and he's just like flawless victory, flawless victory or flawless kill, whatever he said, I was just like, beautiful. My other shout out was to, did you have a point there?
Oh, I was just gonna say, and that's actual flawless victory because that happens in the 1995 movie where they will say flawless victory. But a flawless victory in the game is if you've not been touched and you kill the person. There's so many times in the 1995 movie when they'll say flawless victory, and it's like, no, you were beat within an inch of your life. That doesn't count here, but that counted because he didn't take any damage. He dodged her, but she never put one hand on him.
Yeah, exactly. And same with like the Kano wins, and there was obviously he took damage there, so it was kind of a more appropriate response. The other one that for sure, when she like punches the hole out of the mouth chick and her spine's still intact.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I was just like, I am super happy about that detail. It's not just a clean hole. Like her spine is still just sitting there.
Especially like you see her like in the background, it's kind of fuzzy, and then it focuses on her. Like that's the exact same. There's a very, very similar fatality that happens in the game too, where it's just like zooms on her. It's like, Sonya Blade wins, something like that. But
I did like the fire dragon as well. I didn't necessarily think it was, the most amazing kill, but I did think it was fun because I didn't know that he could make a fire dragon, so I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. I thought it was just going to set the ground on fire around him, and then when it grew into the giant dragon, I was like, nice, I can get behind this.
What about you, Taylor?
I really loved how Scorpion went Ghost Rider on Sub-Zero. Like, this is the fire coming out of his face. Like, it was just so good, just melting him. I'm totally with you on Kung Lao's kill, like Buzzsaw Sawmill. That was just wickedly, brutally insane and intense.
Wickedly, brutally. You're sounding like that fucking Ted Bundy, Zac Efron movie that was terrible a few years ago.
That's the title, yeah.
Yeah, wickedly. What is it? Like extremely, wickedly, shockingly vile or whatever.
Fucking too long is what it is.
Yeah, don't watch that movie. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
I do want to pinpoint, because you talked about Kano there. There's one moment, I don't know why, but I really liked his humor. It was just so like off the charts. Like I feel like it was all unscripted. But there was one moment when they saw Liu Kang, and Liu Kang just put his hand on Kano's shoulder, and he looks, and I feel like it was improv because he looks at him, he's like, "What the fuck?"
He just says, "Yeah." I had sometimes he's like, "The fuck," and
The
then,
fuck,
and Liu Kang carries on. Yeah, I thought, like, honestly, I think he gave the best performance-wise out of anyone, especially like as far as people that had the same personality as their game character. That fit, and I think he did a really good job. I think some of the jokes were really close to, like, I don't know if you can say this stuff anymore, and I think that will also hurt it with reviews and whatnot, because I feel like there was some stuff where it was like maybe like getting to the edge of like homophobic stuff where it's like, I don't like it was close. Like there was definitely a line. And like the thing is, the character ends up being a bad guy. You can make that case, but I was like, okay. But then there were times where he's just like a dirty character. But like I think he did a really good job. I was laughing a lot at some of the stuff he said because he was just like the gnarly piece of shit character that like everyone was stepping on. Like there's so many jokes cracked at his expense, and yeah, like, and I know he is like a bad guy in the game, but I think we already talked about this a little bit, but just to reinforce that, I think how he got to that point was a little too quick for me, and it was kind of okay, we need him to be bad, have this guy tell him to be bad, and he's bad, so I really liked Kano, other than kind of I wish there was a bigger turn, or I wish they would have just kept him good and maybe turned him at the end of this movie or in a sequel or something. I don't know, and I like that they kept the whole Sonya versus Kano thing, because that's like a classic feud, Mortal Kombat. They hate each other, so he worked for me for the most part. I think he did maybe the best performance wise out of all of them, except maybe Goro. Did great acting this movie.
I absolutely love Kano in this. I thought it was like perfect casting, especially like just, and like you mentioned, like his borderline edgy, who we're like, can you really say that? Like, I feel like if anyone, you can put that on Kano, because he's such a scumbag. Like he's such a piece of shit. And like when he was kind of like joining the team there, I was kind of disappointed, because I'm like, I don't want him to be a part of the crew. I want him to be like, like cutting throats and like just completely betraying everyone.
Cash
and that's
checks, breaking necks.
Yeah. So I mean, he ended up being that and like betraying them and all that stuff. So I was happy with that. I think the turn was a little like not the cleanest explanation there, but overall, I thought like all of his line, like there was again, like not all the humor worked for me from him, but I think majority of it worked so well. And like he was just constantly just saying things, just just to get reactions out of people and just being a total asshole. And I like that's what I wanted because that's what Kano is, and I thought his look was so good when they first meet him, and he's just stuck in the chair there. Like like from start to finish, I think I liked like 90% of Kano, and there was quite a few people I really liked for the casting wise, but he was definitely my favorite.
He never got the metal plate. I was waiting to say.
I know. I was waiting for that.
Yeah,
I thought he was gonna lose his eye originally too when the reptile like scratched him, but it looked like it just perfectly like avoided his eye. Funny enough there, but
no, his eye had like it was like bloodshot. It was red.
Oh yeah, it wasn't doing too well. Okay.
Which you could tell something was going on.
Need some Visine.
And the other scene I really liked with him too was when Kung Lao and Liu Kang were just giving him the shit, like talking about like how worthless it is. Like when he got his moment and he got the laser eye and he's just like, I have laser, like that's better than a fireball. But like there was just so much like I thought they did a really good job in that scene of like, comparing him to a bunny and pushing his buttons, everything like that.
Yeah.
So I thought I really liked that scene as well.
I love too, and he's like, "Fuck, it could be worse. It could be like you could. What was it? It could be bad one. Like you could get the hat guy." He just kept like bringing back that joke there. But I loved when Liu Kang and Kung Lao was just like totally shitting on him. It's like you realize that he's here to defend you because you're just way too weak to do anything yourself. Like all that dialogue was really good.
I think he was probably one of my favorite characters, honestly, just for his kind of, the one-liners, and pretty much anytime he opened his mouth, it was just to shit on someone else or be shit on, basically. That was really his whole comedic value, is just to be the brunt of all the jokes and to shit on everyone else. I do think that, it was a weak turning point that Cable, that was his name, right? Cabal came in, and he's just like, whatever your price is, double it and then double it again, and it's like, okay. It's like that's not really that great of a reason, especially because then he goes to Sonya's house looking to collect money from her, and it seems there's a bit of a disconnect there for me. And
is that why he went there? I thought he went there just to kill her.
He's like, I'm gonna get me my $3 million as he's walking inside, or this bitch owes me $3 million.
Yeah, and like that was another thing too. Like I guess because it's Kano, he's an idiot, and technically, if they doubled, like he was gonna get like what 12 million, so he was still got a good pop. But like again, the movie was having fun, so I guess I kind of wrote it off. But when she was just like, yeah, I'll give you 3 million, and he was just like, yeah, I'm along for the ride. Same thing. Almost as like I didn't buy how he left the team, and I almost didn't buy how he joined the team. Once he was there, I didn't care. I was like, okay, he's a fun character. Let's do this. But like the whole like, oh, I'm not gonna go unless I have a price. And it's just like, even when she makes the joke, like, yeah, I just live in a trailer. But it's just like, I know he's not the smartest guy, but that just felt like way too convenient for him to be like, okay, she's gonna have 3 million on like a whatever her salary is. It's like, okay, I guess so. Let's just get him on the venture and we're going, and that's what happened.
So I do think that he definitely died. Really, I don't know. Maybe Sonya has this bigger backstory that, yes, she's special forces, but I don't know. If I had a friggin' laser eye, I feel like I just dump a can of gas in front of her place and set it on fire. And
it was the reverse. She threw the can of gas, whatever, on his face and took out his eye, or whatever that was, acid or something.
Acetone.
Is that what it was? Acetone?
Yeah, nail polish remover.
Ooh.
So, and yeah, I mean, I don't understand how him just getting stabbed in the eye kills him. Is that also some kind of...
It's because the brain's there.
He's not wrong. That's how...
that would still be a lobotomy, and people live through that.
Well, I think that gnome was so long, though, that went to like the other back of it. Like, it probably was through his whole brain.
No, it was
a long gnome.
And the gnome's hand that killed him.
What a way to go.
I don't know. It seems sad, but I guess he wasn't really the most amazing character anyway, in the fact of like his fighting survivability. So
yeah, he was bound to go at some point. So
yeah, for sure.
Anything else on? Go ahead.
That one point when Reptile was like wrestling around on him and stuff, and Sonya like threw a couple like shots at Reptile and then threw the big fucking knife right in Kano's leg. He's like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
that's my knife so too.
Good. Yeah, that's my knife. He said it. What did he say? It's like, it's my knife. That's fucking poetic or something like that. Like,
Yeah, and I can't remember what they were fighting about, but when he's like pushing Sonny around, he's like, just take it, come on, like you can take it, and like he's trying to egg her on like she can't take it, and then she kicks his ass, and she has him completely pinned down. He's like, okay, you can take it, like yeah,
We're talking about the mark.
yeah, the mark, yeah. So, I wanted, and I'm gonna probably tie this in with the ending a little bit. I want to talk about Sang Sung because we've already talked about him a little bit. Like I said, I thought he was very generic. I thought for this character that's supposed to be like one of the biggest bosses in Mortal Kombat, he was, I think, dialogue wise, acting wise, directing wise, I think they just really kind of shit the bed with him. I think he just came off very weak and does like not interesting at all. And they're already dropping the Shao Kahn hint, so I was like, oh, are they gonna copy the first movie where they're going to kill him off and then the bigger villain will come in? But so I have those character problems, but then at the end when they kill all the, we'll talk about Goro, of course, but they kill the people and he goes, well, I'm, dead's only one stage of life, and they show like all the bodies getting sucked away. So I think that was kind of fun because maybe it shows like, oh, for sequels, these people could come back because maybe they're like raised from the dead. If you know Mortal Kombat lore, like people are always coming back. It's like comic books. But then just to be like, when I come back, I'm not going to have fighters. I'm going to have an army. And then they just like pivot away. And like literally the movie is left in this, you have to see a sequel sort of way. And even when they're like, we're going to need people, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this moment too, but they go, okay. And they're like, we're heading to Hollywood, and they show the poster of Johnny Cage. That was a hype, like trying to get hype moment. I'm not the biggest fan of Johnny Cage, so I didn't care that much, but I felt like the last 50 minutes was there was not really an end. Like you got the Scorpion and Sub-Zero and Cole fight, but then it felt like the whole ending of the movie was missing. Like Jessica was talking earlier, like how much time was left, and like they skip over. Like, some people have a problem with this, that we actually never got to the tournament. They talk about the tournament the whole movie. The tournament never even happens. I don't really have a problem because that happens in the games, but if you're expecting a tournament, then alas, you can go watch the 1995 version, which has a terrible tournament, which makes no rules.
Yeah, it's
but
terrible.
So we didn't get the tournament. We didn't get the big fight. We didn't get the big conflict. We didn't really get any resolution with Sang Sung other than like, I'm going to come back with a bigger army. They set up this whole, like literally the end of like, they should have to me done the Johnny Cage thing as an end credit thing, not to end the movie of like, well, like it felt so fucking cocky and confident to be like, we're getting a sequel. And it's like, don't do that. Like I felt like when I saw that, I was like, I feel like you jinxed yourself here, because that's exactly like Power Rangers a few years ago. I don't know if you guys remember seeing that, and they ended it with the Green Ranger, and it was like, did we get a sequel to that? No, we never did. And it's just like, it was weird to end the movie on we're going to get this character, and I just thought that Sang Sung in general was very anticlimactic, and then I think because he had a lot to do with the ending, that story and character and the way they left it just really, I don't know, left with a thud. That's where, again, my kind of roller coaster of the movie, where it started high and went down, down, down. The ending of this movie was definitely the lowest I had been. So I'm not sure if you guys were the same as far as that. But Taylor, you said you're like in Sang Sung with the ponytail and everything. So did you like him as a character?
I liked him as a character.
And why?
There was one moment where I don't remember specifically. Oh, it was after the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight. And all the heroes were there. Raiden was there, and then Shang Tsung just walks out from the side. It's just, it always cracks me up how he's just popping out of nowhere. And
that's why you like him, because he walked out from the side.
It cracked me up, but I mean, I wouldn't say that's the reason why I liked him. The reason I liked him was just to me, he wasn't super over the top. Again, I don't know the origin or what this villain is supposed to necessarily represent or be like. So for me, I just took it as he's just this emotionless and emoteless just villain who's just very powerful and is very disciplined on what he's trying to achieve. And again, I like his lines, like how he's talking like, every fighter I lose, another one will just take their place, and I'm going to come at you with armies, which is, again, he was building the hype up. Then that whole ending with him and Raiden just blasts him and says he talks too much. Like, I love that. That was so good.
So I'm reading online, he's supposed to be a shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what he eats. Was there any shape shifting in?
No,
because I didn't realize that he was supposed to be, like, reading about him now, he's supposed to be a main boss.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he
gets
doesn't
power
like
from
this.
eating souls, and he can transform into anyone and absorb their powers. And the only thing I saw him do, like, he ate the one soul, but like his eyes turned black when he went to fight people, and I was like, what's that even do? Why are your eyes black now?
Yeah,
especially one time he didn't use them. His eyes were just black and he was just talking. It's like, well, I guess that's like, you're like, I'm gonna attack, but it's like, I don't know if this is really needed in this moment. And
Yeah.
I've heard like next to Jax, he's been the one I've heard the most kind of same as me. It's like, man, they really bungled this character. It's like, look at Jessica first time viewers, like he should feel important. It's like the second like a Loki or a Thanos or a Darkseid shows up in Justice League, oh, this is someone of note. This is a big character. He just gets no like even big entrance. He's just there. He's just another character,
Yeah, and like Shang Tsung is probably like my favorite villain in the entire Mortal Kombat series. They do such a good job with him in the new game. It really like brings back just that magic of like his first appearance because the biggest thing about him and like the Mortal Kombat is he basically has this tournament going on to just like get the strongest champions to fight, and then the winner of the tournament, he just absorbs their soul because he's just so powerful. He can only like he just wants the souls of the strongest beings, and like he's just so badass. Yeah, they don't even touch upon the shape shifting stuff. He'll like turn into so many different characters, and yeah, he's just known as like as just a super powerful sorcerer, and like we don't really get any of that here. It's just like we just kind of have to infer that that he's strong and powerful and all knowing all these things, but like he really doesn't do anything other than absorb Kung Lao's soul. And like if you don't really know anything about the games, like you wouldn't even know the relevance of Kung Lao. And like when Kung Lao gets introduced, he's like, I'm a descendant of the great Kung Lao, and he's like the one that originally defeated Shang Tsung. Like he's such a important guy, but no, we don't really.
Yeah. When Kano's like, that means nothing to me. I was
Yeah,
like, I feel that, Kano. I feel that.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's probably like my biggest disappointment, honestly, was the Shang Tsung stuff, because he's just such an iconic character and so powerful, and like it just seems like no one can ever defeat him fully. Like he's just always coming back and always conniving and always has like a master plan, whereas here he just had his army, came there, his army lost, and then he got banished. Like that was the end. We didn't even really get to see him pop off on anyone, but
no, he didn't really move at all. Like he sucked the soul, and that was it. And I feel like he's the type of character that like the whole cast, there's some actors you kind of know or you might have seen in a bit role or something, but like it's pretty mostly unknown people, right? Like upcoming actors, newer actors.
yeah.
And I feel like usually with that type of role, that's when you spend the budget. Like, okay, for this one role, we're gonna get somebody that people know. I'm not saying it has to be like a mega A-list star, Nick Cage, but like
Josh Brolin.
Josh, but like just somebody that's like, okay, they could chew in the scenery a little bit here. And yeah, it's just, and that to me, that character had a lot of the problems. So, and Taylor, I'll go back to you because you obviously like Shang Tsung. How do you feel about the ending of this movie? As far as we got to me like the full on. To me, there's not, the ending was a setup for the sequel. It wasn't an ending to this movie. It was like, okay, we're coming there. We're getting all to go to a tournament. We got to fight a war because Shang Tsung's getting soldiers, and then we got to go get Johnny Cage. And that's where I said, like, this probably should have been, in my opinion, a TV series. I think this would have worked a lot better if they did this as like a 6-episode, like Falcon Winter Soldier style, 40 to 50 episode minutes. You could focus on one character, and then this seems like a good setup for season 2, but for me, I guess it was just so blatantly like, oh, this is for the second movie, and we're saving a bunch of stuff till then. It was like, you guys are doing this, like movies do this way too much, where they use this to build up to the other one. So did that work for you, all the build up though?
Oh yeah.
Wait, before you continue, we're going to take an ad break because it's been a good minute since we've done that. So we're going to take our second ad break right now, and Taylor's going to explain himself to the jury. We'll be right back. And we're back. Taylor, the floor is yours.
Yeah, everything they were doing to set up, I agree with you. It as a 6-part TV series would have been absolutely fantastic because we got a lot more on top of the awesomeness that we got. So I'm totally open for that. That being said, with what we did get, I love the build-up. I love the excitement of them just going to recruit more champions. And that whole setup with Johnny Cage just had me like super excited because I was like, Matt, looking at Madison, Johnny Cage. And she has no idea what I'm talking about. But it's
we should have had a camera on YouTube this whole movie. I would have loved to see Madison's experience.
She was on her phone. She was on her phone most of it. She was not like into it at all.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what other setups they did. I guess.
Well, we never got the tournament too. Like the whole movie they did. Whole movie they talked about we're going to the tournament, and that was Shang Tsung all the time. They go back to him. He's like, we have to stop them before we get to we have to stop them before we get to the tournament. And it wasn't a big con for me because, like I said, it happens in games, but it is just another thing where it's like you do talk about it quite a bit in the movie, and the fact that we never get to that point. That's quite a kind of ballsy move to throw out there,
Mm-hmm.
Well, like you said, they're probably trying to work their way to the second one. Will be, continuing on to the tournament. But
Yeah.
now I forget what we were talking about. Go
We're
ahead,
talking about
Taylor.
the ending, saying song. We're talking about Johnny Cage, the war that he's gonna, warriors.
So, for me, I really didn't feel. If the movie was longer, I would have been happy to keep watching. But I don't necessarily feel like, okay, yeah, I need a second one. If that makes sense, like I feel like an additional half an hour, 45 minutes on this one would have been good. But do I need a whole another 2 hours? I don't quite know if that's the case. But part of that too is I don't necessarily feel like I still know about characters. Like, does Scorpion come back again, or is he gone now? Because he
Scorpion
killed his...
is basically just like immortal. Like, he just won't ever be gone. He'll be in the
he
shadows, and
he did what he wanted. He killed the
Well,
person that was keeping him alive.
He said he's
like,
free now, though, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like he's free to come and go as he pleases.
Yeah,
because
no,
Sub-Zero's definitely coming back.
Well, I was thinking more like free, like his soul is free, like he can rest in peace now.
No, I believe he's like a wraith. That's like just his race now. So he's just like, anytime that he gets defeated, he'll go back to like that hell realm, and then he'll just come back.
Stabbed by Morgul Blade.
It's again, yeah, exactly. Like, again, it's pretty eye-rolly how like they just always have these excuses to bring back these main characters, and it's just a running thing in the games. But I mean, like, they could just jot that down, in the next film. Oh, why is he back? Oh, he's a wraith now. He's basically Ghost Rider.
I mean, for me, as someone who doesn't know the lore or know anything, I don't understand what Cole's like. Does he have a Black Panther suit? Like, he gets hit and it absorbs power. I don't know who Johnny Cage is. I don't. So to me, I don't know who that is. Honestly, I forgot about the tournament. I was so.
So did they. Halfway through the movie, they're writing. They're like, "Fuck! We said we're gonna do a tournament. Oh, we don't have time for that." Okay.
And it almost should have been like everyone was saying. Okay, we need everyone here. Everyone has to come and help fight Sub-Zero, and everyone should have been there. And then all of a sudden, that's when Scorpion comes and is like the savior. Not it's a 2-on-1 fight with them, and I don't know. It just kind of seemed anticlimactic. Like, what happened to everyone else who was supposed to be needed and
they didn't make it through the portal.
Yeah, because it was a trap.
It was a trap.
The ending, I don't know. For me, it wasn't enough to feel like I need a whole nother couple hours, which is funny because, as I said, I was quite positive on this movie, but the ending was really rushed and really, I don't know, confusing to someone who didn't know what exactly I needed to know to watch out for or what information I needed.
Yeah, for sure. And like, that's a very similar feeling I had just with a lot of the character introductions. Like, Travis, you were just bringing up some like complaints you had of just like them not really fleshing out these characters, and they just like would throw them in, or like certain explanations on like why Cabal.
I'm Sub-Zero now.
Yeah, like why Cabal is just pissed off at Kano, and like it's just kind of like, okay, let's just go there and do that. But like, for me, like, I have all this prior knowledge going into it, so I know these pre-existing things. So for me, I kind of just fill in the gaps myself, which isn't a negative because I love this like lore and all of these things, but it is very deep cut. Like when I was getting into the last game, I just watched like a 30-minute YouTube video on like basically the rundown of the story, and it is so convoluted. Like, there's parts of it that are as confusing as like a Legend of Zelda timeline where it just splits off and there's 2 different timelines. It's just like, whenever that happens, it's like, really?
Well,
like, it's just...
Well, and I think that's the interesting thing, and like, I guess why I'm pitching the TV show is just because I feel like we know like Halo's happening, and like I said, I feel like ever since The Witcher, that was like the breaking code moment where I was like, okay, these now need to be TV shows. They shouldn't be movies because like there's so much more time to flesh out multiple characters, multiple stories, and I think that's the tough thing, like especially when you're doing a Mortal Kombat movie. There's dozens and dozens of characters that people love, and it's like, who do you pick? How many do you put in? Like, because if you put in 5 good guys, you're gonna need 5 bad guys or antagonists. So there's some right there. You need your main bad guy. You need Raid and stuff like that. So it piles up really quickly. You got Scorpion, Sub-Zero. So it's like, it is this tough balance of like, how much do you like the same thing? Like, anyone that doesn't know about Mortal Kombat, they'll see that Johnny Cage thing and be like, hey, what the fuck? Like, that's why to me, like, when Thanos was at the end of Avengers, it was an end credit. So it's like, if the hardcore stuck around, you're watching it and you probably have a hardcore friend with you. So you could turn to, like everyone did to me in Avengers, like, who's this purple guy? Where like the end of this movie is just like, it makes like the only way I think it would have been not redeemable or savable for like a mainstream person, but is if they showed Johnny Cage, but there's an actual like bigger actor playing them, because it'd be like, oh shit, they're going to get Keanu Reeves, they're going to get somebody, right? But it was just like they just show his crotch with the belt that says Cage. So it's just like, as someone like Jessica or other people might be like, what the fuck does this even mean? And then the movie just like ends. It literally ends on the poster of Johnny Cage. And it's like, this is odd. And that's where it's like, I think sometimes the video game movies and comic book movies have done this too, but I think video game movies, sometimes they get caught up too much in making sure there's like fan service moments for the people that play the games. But it's like, no, like Kirklin said, he'll fill in those slots. I feel like they should take more care of the people that don't know this stuff and try to get them in, because they should like, they need mainstream people to be like, I really want Mortal Kombat 2, because Mortal Kombat fans alone probably aren't enough to push that agenda. And I just think the ending was kind of almost too much inside baseball of like throwing lots of stuff out there of like, you might get this if you support us, but it's like, well, people don't know what they're getting if they just see the word Cage there. That doesn't mean anything to them, So
yeah, no, for sure, I agree with that point big time.
I will shout out before I forget, because I want to shout out positive. The final fight with Scorpion Sub-Zero. I love that you had a lot of their movesets used there. You had the ice wall. You had probably my favorite move in any Mortal Kombat game. Sub-Zero, he'll do this thing where he's in a pose and then he'll turn to ice and back away. So it's like it's a block in the game where you go to punch him, but then he just turns to ice and he gets shut off. So you're just punching like an ice skeleton of him. And like he did it in like a downward position. Like that whole final fight with the Kune, everything like that. They're pulling like legitimately video game combo moves, and that was fantastic stuff going on there.
And like I haven't played all the games, but I just know like from the newer one compared to the old one, he uses a lot more like ice weapons, and like he was using them all the time in here, like in that classic one in the trailer with the blade he makes out of blood. Like
I wanted to shout out the blood blade.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, absolutely prime. Like just as he like rips out the blade and the blood follows out the blade, so he just like freezes it and grabs it. It was just like, I
was eating that up. Yeah, when he was like making like the ice wall and throwing them through it, and like whenever there's like a line from the games that like I'm expecting, because that's what these are, they're Mortal Kombat, whether it's Shang Tsung saying your soul is mine, he said finish them a couple times in here, but then like the Scorpion, get over here, and it's like just such a like a different voice than like the voice actor would have, but I'm like, I don't even fucking care. This is awesome.
And he's speaking English for no reason whatsoever right now. Like the whole movie, he doesn't speak English, and I laugh so much. I don't know. This is why it must just been how they shot the scene. It must have been multiple days. But I don't know how many fucking times Scorpion would take his mask off, talk, put it back on, and then literally 10 seconds later, he'd turn to talk to someone else, and he'd do that same thing. If you watch it, he did it at least 3 to 4 times, where it's just like, keep the mask off, dude. If you're going to talk to people, like, keep it off the whole time and then put it on. But it, like, to me, that showed, okay, this was shot multiple days, and they just didn't think about that, and they're trying to do for continuity. And, like, I kind of agree with Jessica as far as, like, I love Scorpion, but, like, where he went in the ending, which is kind of like, I'm free now, he disappears, and like, okay, like I guess this is someone of your bloodline, and he's like, you're gonna carry on my bloodline. And I think my thing with Cole is I really liked it, and it's funny we actually didn't talk about this, him being a new character. I like that. I know some people didn't, but I like having it's like broad strokes. You could look at it as us, where he's learning about the world, he's new to it. I think his power was kind of lame. I think it looked fine, but then once we get closer onto it and saw, I was like, okay, he can make metal stuff or gold stuff, whatever, that's cool. But I thought what they're gonna do was he wasn't the lineage of Scorpion, that we all knew right away. But I thought what was gonna happen is that Scorpion, the one we kind of know and love, would keep going, maybe die, and then they'd give our main character like the powers of Scorpion. So it's like, how do you make Scorpion the main character of your movie? It's kind of hard, right? He doesn't talk, whatnot. But I thought, if he has this lineage, it's kind of like that passing of the torch. And they didn't really do that. They're just kind of connected just by blood. And it was like, okay, fine enough. But I liked the idea of Cole, but I think the execution kind of went away, and I think he kind of became a boring character. I absolutely hated, I have a line here, I hated when they had their little powwow before they went to go fight everybody. He's like doing his Captain America speech, like, we got to work together, we got to train harder. And it's just like, he literally says this thing where, this is the line, Sonya, I know you've kicked Kano's ass before, but now he's got a laser, so look out for that. That's a legitimately line in this movie where it's just like, well, no shit, she's gonna look out for the laser. But they didn't play it off for jokes. Like they didn't have him saying like, oh, I know. It's just like he's literally giving her this advice, and she's like, yes, I need this. Thank you, Cole. So I think Cole started good, but I got less interested in him as the movie went along, which I feel like shouldn't happen as the main character.
No, I definitely agree with that. And like I said before, like I wasn't 100% sure who he was supposed to be. I kind of assumed he was going to be Liu Kang, like from the beginning, because he's just this martial artist guy. And Liu Kang's a monk. So there is some differences there. And then like at the beginning of the movie, I am liking this character, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think I like this if this is the new Liu Kang. Like I want that dude with the long hair, like the total monk style. And then once we got to like that desert spot when Liu Kang actually appeared, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is definitely just a new character they added for the movie. Because
so is it a normal thing? Like I questioned this with Jack's arms, and then this bracelet is apparently his Akana. You can't answer anything about that, right? How his power is just the Black Panther absorby suit.
No, because he's new, right? So yeah.
I mean, I completely just put that on the new mechanic that they introduced in this movie, which is the Arcana, because it was the same thing with like Jax just getting his metal arms there, and then like when Cole got his armor, and then Shay was like, did that just appear out of nowhere? And I'm like, well, it's the same thing that happened to his arms, right? Like that's just what they're jotting under. And then she kind of gave me the eye roll. It's like, okay, yeah.
Well, it came from his bracelet, which was a gift from his daughter. He had a matching bracelet with his daughter, and he was saving his family when.
Oh, okay. I think
family, I think,
part.
was the trigger, right? Because that's when he got the power. So I think that was the idea. Even when you look at how Scorpion comes out, it was his blood touching the blood of the kunai that also had the blood of Scorpion on it. So I think it was tied to the same way Kano's was. Anger brought his out. Family or the love of his family brought out his powers. So they're definitely going for that vibe.
Well, and like I said, and it was supposed to be this bracelet that his daughter made, and they have the matching ones, right? So maybe that it's the protection, families protecting him and absorbing the blows.
There definitely isn't a pair of the bracelets anymore, though, because Bihan just fucking crushed that one. I'm assuming that was his daughter's.
Yeah, that was how he got. That's how he knew to follow him into the smoke, because it was Emily's. Which in the beginning, I didn't realize it was his daughter. I thought it was his girlfriend, and then when the mom walked up and they like open mouth kissed, I was like, "What the heck is going on here?" It took me a while to figure that out.
At first, I thought they were like brother and sister, and then I thought that was the mom that came in, and then I'm like, did they just kiss? Like, what the hell?
The porn genre of like stepbrother, stepsister is really big right now.
Popular,
so let's get that market up. So.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Taylor, what did you feel about Cole? New character introduced for the movie. Were you a fan of Cole?
I was trying to figure out like who is he? Like, is he Liu Kang, or what's his proper origin? Are they changing Liu Kang's origin, making him a descendant of Scorpion? I was just trying to figure it out. But
all you had to do was IMDb, and you would have thought Liu Kang was Ludi Lin. He would have been casted, and he was good to go. Ludi Lin, who I really like. I liked him enough as Liu Kang in this movie. I think I need a little more, but Ludi Lin's a good actor.
I didn't IMDb any of these characters beforehand. I just wanted to go in and be surprised. But I think he was a cool character. I like Cole, and I like his power. And if we get that sequel, I'm very excited to see him come back.
There you go. Fair enough. Let's see here. What
I was gonna mention Raiden next, and that was my second biggest disappointment in this film. I love Raiden in the games. I think just like the whole idea of the Thunder God is so badass. I love his hat and like the thunder eyes. Like all of that stuff is so badass. And he's just always the protector of Earthrealm and just always supportive of all the characters. And he just like comes off as an asshole in this originally. And I just like, again, he's unimpressed with them, and then the whole idea is like they kind of show their worth, Captain of Gondor starting to show their worth, and then he's starting to get impressed by them. He's like, oh, you guys are actually decent, and then like maybe if we're going forward, he'll just be a lot more supportive. But like I was just so turned off, and he's like fucking pathetic, like Raiden saved Cole, he saved Cole's ancestor, which is Scorpion's daughter, and like he's basically the reason why Cole's there, and he's just like pathetic, like you're weak and all these things. It's just, I don't know. For me personally, I didn't think that it fit the character at all, and I was just really turned off on him. Like the thunder effects looks good, but I mean, come on, like that looked good in the '95 movie. Like it's definitely dated now, but like it still looked decent. I don't know. I was pretty upset.
I will say that I did like, if you noticed in the background, pretty much anytime they were in the temple, there was thunder happening outside.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of a cool little touch because he is supposed to be based on the god of thunder or whatever exactly it is. But once again, I didn't realize that he was exactly what was happening with the whole god situation.
Yeah.
Whatever he's supposed to be. I didn't understand.
Gandalf, they're Dumbledore. He's like the soothsayer of like, he gives them the advice and everything. Like he's supposed to be the team leader type of guy.
Like he's the god of thunder, but there's also like the elder gods, which is just like the next step up. So there's a bunch of different like deities.
Yeah, see, and that was confusing to me exactly what was happening. And then was, what do you guys call him? Susang?
Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung. Yeah, I remember it as far as he's Shang. Okay, he's Shang.
The guy that eats the souls.
Yeah, Shang Tsung.
Eater.
Yeah, so is he also like he's like the god of the outer world?
No, he's not a god. He's just like a very, very powerful sorcerer. And that's what's like a kind of a weird thing, is that the whole idea is that like everyone in the universe kind of follows the rules of Mortal Kombat that kind of got put in place by like the elder gods or whoever it was. And then Raiden, being like the defender of Earth, he kind of has authority, so he can kind of like stop Shanks. Like when he just banishes him there, like that's kind of the elder gods is like laws that he's like enforcing, I guess, and just is able to banish him there. But like I think the idea is Shang Tsung just becomes so powerful that he's able to kind of like go like on par with Raiden. Again, it's kind of fuzzy. It's not very.
So then another kind of two-piece question.
Yep.
One is, why was he not able to save Hat Guy? Like he
didn't like him.
Yeah,
I can't save every soul, but it's like, but you didn't even try.
Yeah, no, asshole Raiden just did not want to lift up a finger there. I mean, I think it's the first like original Mortal Kombat, he keeps saying that he can't interfere because these Mortal Kombat rules, which is like whoever wins the Mortal Kombat, which is at this point Shang Tsung won like the last. I know.
They even say that they're like, well, outside Mortal Kombat, there's allowed to fight like action and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, there is. So what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, like they kept. It seemed like they just kept contradicting themselves, and like
the first
I had an
movie.
idea of the rules, but yeah,
like the first movie where Art doesn't want to fight Goro, and then Goro kills him, and then Raiden's like, oh, by the way, you can turn down any fight you want here on Mortal Kombat. And it's like, let this guy die. So the rules of Mortal Kombat are, that's why it's just like, with some people being mad that the tournament's gone, that's why I always say, like, find a way just to throw out these fucking rules and just say, hey, it's good guys versus bad guys trying to take over the world. Like, I get it because the tournament and the style makes it unique, but it's like, it didn't get that way in this movie. It just kind of gave us some weird lines like, well, we can't fight here because of this, we can't fight this. And like I kind of agree mostly. Like I don't have much to add on Raiden. I think Raiden, for being such a powerful, cool character in games I've seen him, to be so boring and lackluster, he's kind of like Shang Tsung for me. But like Shang Tsung, I was offended by. Raiden, to me, this whole movie, he was just there. I really actually didn't have much feelings towards him, good or bad. I was just kind of like,
hated it.
I
hated it.
I also didn't like though when like he's been here for, I don't know, a few days, a few weeks. Cole finally just goes, Rain, just like, I don't know what my place is here. And then Rain turns around and does the classic 30-second, well, your heritage is like, oh, this guy's family was murdered, and there was the daughter, and then that's where you come from. It's like, why didn't you tell us like a few days ago? Like, it was just so funny. Like the whole time Rain's been sitting on this origin, and it didn't feel like it came up naturally. It was just like, where am I from? And Rain, like a text was like, oh, you're from this, this, and this. Okay, break. And then he's like, you want to go? And Cole's like, yeah, I want to go. And that was it. It was just like, it was some of the way these origins were dealt out were just very cookie cutter. It felt like a checklist of like, okay, we talked about this person's backstory, we talked about this person's backstory, but you got to do a show, don't tell. And just because you said 2 or 3 lines about a person's origin doesn't really make it worth our time to like invest in these characters. But they did that a lot for that. And I hated that moment where Rain's like, oh, here's your history lesson of who you are, Cole. And yeah.
So then another question before we move on too far and I forget. So Hat Guy died, and what happened to his mark? Because he died and it was by someone from the outer world, just doesn't transfer to anyone. Just Earth has one less defender forever now.
It was
my
absorbed.
assumption. I mean, like
Shang
Shang
Tsung's
Tsung
ass.
he's not really competing, right? And then like, aren't the marks just for the Earth Realm champions? That's kind of what I took it as.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So Earth has these 4 champions, or however many it was, 5, and then when one gets killed, it transfers to somebody else. And those are the only people, the Lightning Rigeki or whatever his name is, said that, Sonya couldn't unlock any Akana, so she was pointless. So Hat Guy died, and then it wasn't by another Earth fighter. So then this mark doesn't transfer to anyone. So now instead of Earth having 5 fighters, we only have 4 forever.
Yeah, that's what I would jot it under.
This isn't this isn't a game thing. This is something else that they made up for the movies.
Yeah, like the marks aren't a thing. I mean, to my knowledge, but because like the whole idea is Raiden is kind of like captain of Earthrealm, and then he has to like choose like the defenders. Again, I might be wrong there, but I feel like that's the way it is because he's usually the one that has like the mentor role and like kind of gives a lot of guidance to specifically like Liu Kang and Kung Lao. I mean, in this one, he didn't give a fuck about Kung Lao. He just let him vanish. But so yeah, I just really wasn't impressed with the portrayal of Raiden in here because he's like one of my favorite characters in the entire series, and he just really didn't do anything in here, and it didn't seem like he cared. Like in the games, they really show that he's like has a lot of like he kind of like borderlines of like with being a god and humanity because he just loves like humans so much. But I don't know, I just really didn't like his interpretation because it just didn't seem like he cared like if Earthrealm won or not. It was just like, oh yeah, I'll still be the god of thunder no matter what happens. And like in the games, he takes a lot of offense when Shang Tsung is like breaking the rules, and like it's an actual big deal. He like goes to the elder gods and like, guys, we got to stop him, like, you know what he's doing. But I don't even think they mentioned elder gods in this or anything.
They did.
Like that. Oh,
They
did they?
did,
Okay.
yeah.
It was very slight, but yeah.
Because that's what Raiden used. He's like, well, because I this is where I thought I was maybe misheard. I thought he referred to himself in this movie as an elder god, and I thought he said like, as an elder god, I can't interfere in this. I thought he did say that. I could be wrong. I didn't have subtitles on at that point because when I don't have kids home, I watch it half with and half out. When kids aren't home, those subtitles are off, so I can enjoy this, nice, pristine, nice, clean screen. But I swear he said he was an elder god. Maybe he didn't, but I thought I heard that.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be because I mean, I think at the end of like the current game, he like kind of ascends to becoming an elder god, but it's kind of unconfirmed. I don't know.
It's a rumor.
To the best of my knowledge, he's a god, but he's not an elder god. He's like a
he
lesser.
applied for the position. He's waiting to hear back. There's one other dude.
His resume is on the stack of a big pile. Of
named Kano. He's in big running. No one knows why, but
you really like Kano, yeah.
Yeah, he's really funny. We're gonna take our probably last ad break here before we continue on. Then probably soon be getting into our final rating. So listen to this, and we'll be right back. All right. Anything more on Raiden or kind of that topic that we're touching upon, or somewhere else to go?
Somewhere else. Who haven't we talked about? Sonya. Did we talk? Not too much about her. I really liked the actress that played her. I thought she did a really badass job. Like her fight scenes were just kick ass. Like how she just beat the shit out of Kano and had like that big ass knife like on his neck, and it was just cutting. I'm like, oh, that would hurt. Mm-hmm. Overall, I was really impressed with her. I thought like the actress did a solid job giving, I don't know, just doing credit to that character, because I really like Sonya Blade in the movies. I feel like in the original game she's just kind of like introduced as, the classic like 90s video game female portrayal, like, short shorts, big boobs, and all
tight clothes. Yeah.
But like, even, I mean, like where she is in the games currently and like where she was portrayed in this one, like she's really just a badass character. I really, really liked her stuff. I didn't really care for Jax, but I liked their like their chemistry that they had together. I like that stuff, and I want a second movie so bad because I want to see her interacting with Johnny Cage, because that's just like a classic. You know, she's so annoyed with him, but then spoiler alert, they end up together, have a kid, and so I want more.
Yeah, I liked her, but I think I don't like her as much as you do, but I'm on the same bandwagon of like, I do want more. And that's why even my problems with the movie, I do want more, whether they announce it was a series or a sequel. I want them to keep going with this, but I liked her enough, but I still wanted a little bit more. And I think that's probably where I come down to. I wish we had maybe just less characters in this movie, and you could have spent a bit more time with some of these people, because I know people would say, well, it's Mortal Kombat, you need them all. I really don't think so. I think you could pick your 3 to 4 characters and go for that. So I liked her, but I needed more to like really enjoy her, like really invest in her, where it's like, okay, she doesn't annoy me. I think you're right with the fight scene. She's good, had some good one-liners. So
you're mentioning like could do with less characters. What do you think are the staple characters that you need to have? And like if you're not making one attached to this movie, just like any Mortal Kombat movie, what key characters do you need?
So yeah, if they come to me, they're like, what do you do? So here's the tough thing, because I think their approach of we're going to make a new character was a good idea. I think how it ended up going wasn't executed well. But like, let's say I have to have that, and that was different. If I had to add like 3 more as far as our main squad, like, it sounds cheesy because it is like the 95 movie, but it is kind of like Liu Kang, Sonya, and Johnny. Like, those are the ones, like, and like, I never count Sub-Zero and Scorpion because I just feel like they're always going to be around. They're never part of the main game. Like, they were here in this one because of Cole, but they're always on a path towards each other. They always feel like their story, they'll interlink with our characters, but that's their main goal. So it is kind of like those guys. And then if I were to take out the main character that we had, it's probably like a Raid and a Jack. So some of those OG characters, but I think like with Kano, if they like, I liked the hat, definitely. I like what we got with Kung Lao, but Kung Lao and Liu Kang, we kind of established a few lines like, oh, they're brotherly, they have a relationship, but then he's gone really quickly. So it's thinking like, well, I don't know if we needed him. But then at the same point, I think he does work because him getting killed off shows, oh, our main characters, that our video game classic characters could get killed off. So and maybe it's sometimes not even like less characters. It's less of the whole, let's add in this Cabal Kano backstory real quick for 5 minutes, oh, we'll do, like, I think you got to focus on some and make some just the comedic aspect. And because I don't think I walked away really caring about any of them that much, unfortunately, other than my previous knowledge with them.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have like a 3 or 4 of like people you feel you need in there?
Raiden is like the number one, I guess, because he's just like kind of the middleman between Earth and like Outrealm, Netherrealm, like all these other realms, and just everything all the wild stuff that there is in the Mortal Kombat universe. Liu Kang, just because he's like literally the classic chosen one character. Like even when we were watching like Annihilation, like they're all a team fighting together, and all of a sudden it's just like, hey, we're done. Liu Kang, go fight the bad, like the main guy. Like that's just always been the thing. Like in all the games, other than the first one, I guess it was Kung Lao, but Liu Kang, Raiden. Like you brought up a good point with Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I love both those characters so much. Just like, especially just their battles together, and like you said, like they're just destined to clash. But I do agree with you. I think they're not like the main driver of the story. So I would say Liu Kang, Raiden, and then probably Johnny, and just because he brings in just that very zany human character that. Yeah, so Johnny, like if I'm choosing 3, it'd be those 3. And then I don't know. I guess if I needed a female, I'd throw in Sonya because she's the classic.
There you go. What we were talking about, Rain. What else?
We were talking about Sonya.
Sonya.
So
Yeah, Taylor. How do you feel about Sonya there?
Yeah.
I really liked her character in this. Again, I was hoping that she would obviously get the mark and she would be entered into the tournament. I was trying to figure out, okay, how's she gonna get it?
I felt bad for her when they're like, you can stay here, but get the fuck off the mat. Like this
woman
is for
haters.
Yeah.
This is a men only training arena. But yeah, no, I think she was awesome in this movie. She definitely held her ground, and that freaked me out. This like foot behind you, Kirklin, just like levitated out from behind the couch.
I'm home alone. What?
The host situation, yeah.
But yeah, no, she's just an awesome character in this. I love that she could hold her own. She didn't need to have the powers to take on these super advanced, like crazy soups. Yeah, and her origin story, I liked it. I like how she had that background story with Jax being special forces, and if you ever need that short, like quick fire
100%.
backstory, just say we were special forces, and that's all you need to know.
You guys are military, special forces.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, okay.
so
They've been through shit.
was I wrong? Yeah. Okay. Just go to you. Did you like Sonya?
Yeah, I was kind of waiting, I guess. Obviously, her knowing all this information, but not having the mark and still kind of being a part of everything. You're waiting for her to get her power, her mark, and all of that. I feel like she's definitely one of those characters that's going to be more relevant in the proposed sequel, where, like you said, she meets Johnny, who's her obvious love interest, and now that she has her mark and her power, that is, I don't know, the wrist cannons. I don't exactly know what it is.
Yeah, it's because I think in the game she has like actual bracelets, and then they're military gear, but in this one they just like kind of jotted under that Arcana, like she got her gift and then now they just shoot there. But in the game she actually has like military wrist things that shoot cannons.
And that was another thing. So she killed Kano and then got her mark, and then just her Arcana just unlocked at the same time, and it was like, no training or anything.
No,
she need a moment. Yeah.
She knew how to tap into it. She spent
Special
years
forces.
waiting
Yeah,
for
exactly.
it. Special forces.
That one I thought was a little bit kind of like, but that being said, she did get a fair amount of screen time already, so it wasn't like she needed her own personal montage about how to unlock it.
Yeah,
just 10 minutes right in the middle before the finale of her like I'm coming, guys. Yeah,
Eye of the Tiger's playing. She's just like getting.
That's what I was thinking was Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, fuck, that's all the budget was. Like we were gonna put into Goro, but we won Eye of the Tiger. Let's talk about Goro because you guys made me held off. He looked bad, and I hated a few things. Like one, Goro's like, how come in the 1995 movie in this, like, he always gets taken out like such a bitch? Like, I feel like he should be saved for sequels, or he should not be killed, or it should be like a longer fight, or he should be the final. Especially because, like, I guess Sub-Zero was the final boss, so that's fine. But like, Goro should like. I just felt like there was some fun stuff, like they go into the garage and like Cole like kicks like the wall down, it falls on, but it's just like. I don't think the fight was that good. And like I said, I think compositing wise, like the way he looked, there was, like I said, times where it was a dark background, but he was lit. Like he was light and it didn't make any sense. It wasn't a light. You could just tell he was a fully CG character and it did not fit that world at all. It didn't really work, especially because lots of the fights are like real, like martial arts and training. And I think if you're going to do Goro, then again, you wait till the sequel and it's like, okay, we were successful and we got a little bit more budget. I get it. You want to pop the fans. Everyone loves the fucking forearm freak. I love him, but it's just like that scene didn't play for me. And I guess maybe because like Goro just looked bad the whole time, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I love just Goro in Mortal Kombat. He was very well known as just a super OP character in like the original games. Like everyone just hated playing against him. I mean, I'm not like a competitive guy or anything like that, but that's just what I hear from like the threads. Everyone hated playing against Goro. So, and he's such an iconic character with the forearms. But I'm definitely disappointed that he just went out like a bitch. And it's the exact same way that he went out in the 95 version, right? And he's such an iconic character. Whereas I feel like don't have Cole fight him and just fuck him up. Have Cole fight him and get Cole fucked up. And then maybe you have Liu Kang and like Kung Lao come in there and like beat his ass. And then Goro just has to kind of like retreat, not like just get absolutely gutted. Not even in your own realm. Like you're in some barn in probably Arkansas, wherever the hell that guy is. And yeah, I like parts of it, don't get me wrong. Like I like just the whole like reveal of him in the barn and you see like the forearms opening the door. I thought that looked really cool. I'm like, oh shit, like he's fucked. But no, Cole is just got his Arcana and just messed up Prince Goro. And like when Shang Tsung like first like sees him and like you don't actually see the character because they're just trying to hide the bad CGI. It's just like the silhouette of his shadow. It's like, oh shit, like they're putting a lot of emphasis on Prince Goro. Like he's such a big deal. The all-powerful Shang Tsung is so happy to have him on his team. No, he loses to like the most Earth-like dude in this entire movie, and I'm with you, Travis. I was disappointed because I love Garo. I love the forearm freak, like you said. He's just that look alone, like it's so iconic. When I remember seeing him in the trailer, and he's just looks so epic. But bummer.
I mean, his wife did come out there with the axe and help.
Oh my god, her dialogue when she was like, oh my god, I hated the mom so much. Like, it's one thing to have Kano dropping an F-bomb like every 2 seconds, but like when she's like trying to escape with her daughter, it's like, that's fucking crazy. Oh my god, it's like, I hated all of her lines, honestly, and it wasn't much, but I really didn't like it. It stood out to me like enough to mention it here, and I did not like it because there's a lot of F-bombs in this movie, and I felt like she had a lot of them, and she wasn't on screen much.
What about you two? You guys got any thoughts on Goro?
Prince Goro.
Wish I was a prince.
I mean, as far as Goro goes, like I don't know his origin, how super villainous and like main boss he's supposed to be. I just always saw him kind of more like he's just one of the top fighters for the bad guys for Shang Tsung. So in this context, he definitely did get bought fairly quick, but I liked the fight. Again, I didn't see anything super wrong with it, and the CGI actually, it was not bad to me, and maybe it's just because I had like all the lights off in my living room or whatever. But I'll probably have to look at screenshots for sure. But like all in the motion, the fighting, everything, I thought it was pretty good. So
I thought that kind of what you guys were saying for sure, that he seemed like a bigger deal than the one guy that had no powers, and even when he got his powers, they were I don't know. I still don't even know a suit that absorbs. I don't know
what that is. Yeah, he's Metal Man. I don't know.
Yeah, and it. I don't know. I thought at least it would turn back into a bracelet after something. Is he stuck in this outfit forever now?
Forever. Him and his wife have to have sex while he's wearing this fucking golden plate. He's like, you have to ride because it's too heavy. I can't do. I can't be on top. Like this is ridiculous. And she's like, well, you want to go fight
too, big time.
Oh yeah, big time. Like, well, you want to go in Mortal Kombat? No, I didn't. Yeah. Life ruined because his power is he's stuck with his metal chest, But he can make you little metal things,
Back to it though, I think that like you guys have said that nothing is ever really dead in comic book and video game movies. So I'm sure if he's that popular, he'll be back.
They even showed his body specifically getting sucked up by like Shang-Shun's like magical
smoke,
dark realm.
Yeah.
When he's like, death is only one stage. So it's like, he could come back. He can meet Lady Shiva, get on, stuff like that. So,
yeah. So I don't think this will end up being the last of him, strictly because, exactly like you guys have said, no one's ever really dead in these types of movies.
Well, hopefully he gets his revenge, So I have expelled my notes, and I feel like we've talked about everybody. So if there's any scenes or characters to shout out, I think now's the time to do so before ratings.
There was... I loved Sonya's kind of just explanation of like what Mortal Kombat was to like when they go to like the trailer. It's pretty clean and like easy to digest, I thought, and it worked for me. It's just like, this is what Mortal Kombat was, like how long it's been going on, and just all these like other realms, because like it's just like I already stated, like the lore is so wild and like it's pretty tricky to digest if you're just like a newcomer to the series. And I thought she did a decent job of just breaking it down right away for Cole and the viewers. I mean, I liked it there. There was also, I forget what it was, but I think might have been when they're in their trailer and she's like in that same instance when she's kind of breaking down the history of it, and they're kind of flipping through these different books, and you get to see like Hanzo Hasashi, like the original Scorpion, and then Cole's getting his like trippy mind sequence, like, oh, what is that? You're seeing like Scorpion in hell, but they also showed quickly it looked like a like a Native American character, so that was like hinting towards Nightwolf, which is another Mortal Kombat character. He's really, really dope.
Check out our commentary track where he's not dope in this.
He's not dope in that one. Yeah, he's a really cool character though.
What is it? You gotta unlock your animality, man.
Your animality, yeah.
Animality, man. Where is it? Yeah, I got your. And you gotta fuck Katana. You gonna fuck Melina? Come on, unlock your animality. This is a test. It's a test. Animality. Fuck that character in that movie.
Oh yeah, that was. I like honestly wiped that from my memory there. So thanks for bringing that back. But when they're in Raiden's temple, there's a bunch of artifacts, and Kano like grabs one and shoves it in his pocket, and then Liu Kang is like, put that back. And to me, that looked like the amulet of Chinook, which is, you guys won't know, but it's a relevant item in the games. It kind of like corrupts a certain elder god, and then it ends up corrupting Raiden. And it's just a really powerful item, and it was really cool seeing it on screen there. And next to it was actually Katana's fans. That's like her weapon of choice, and they looked really, really cool. And I'm like, I would still wish we got Katana. Definitely not the Annihilation version, but just a new version of Katana. And again, if we do get a sequel, I'm sure she'll pop up. I'm sure she'll be one of those new characters, because she is really relevant throughout the series.
You might have it in your notes there, but there was a moment when they are dropping to different places to fight near the finale that they drop past like a Shao Kahn big statue and everything.
That looks so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Multiple hints throughout this movie of like the Emperor out there. So.
I'm pretty sure too, because when they go to the Void and then, the Captain America speech happens and then they go out on their own little missions there. I'm pretty sure like where Jax fights Raiko, is that guy's name? The guy, the worst fight scene in the film, according to some of us, but that was actually like a map like plucked from one of the games, I'm pretty sure. And like same thing with a couple other ones. Like I think the one with Shao Kahn, I'm pretty sure that was taken like from the game. The one I really noticed was the Jax one with Raiko. It was very iconic with like the waterfall in the back and on the bridge. I forget which game that is specific. It's definitely not like the original. I think it's one where they have a little bit better graphics, but my other note was in the Sub-Zero versus Scorpion fight at the end. I don't know if they did this intentionally or not, but when I forget what makes Sub-Zero, like he kind of like takes off some of his armor and then he's wearing like a more like sleek black suit. It looked very much like Noob Saibot's outfit, like his new version. And again, I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, but it looked really cool just getting like the two versions of Sub-Zero, and then later he becomes Noob Saibot. And again, if we get a sequel, I guarantee he's going to be coming back, because he becomes pretty relevant in the games at least. And yeah, I liked all those little like Easter egg stuff, whether it was like the Katana fans or the amulet and stuff like that. Again, I really, really like this movie, so I will be rewatching it again. I'm sure there's some other ones that I missed. So that's all my notes I got.
Anybody else have anything to show, or should we drop our ratings?
Poor Taylor, man. It looks like you got a fatality. Yeah,
Taylor got his soul sucked out
like,
there.
It's like when you finish the fight and then you're like waiting to the input for like the fatality, and he's just like,
yeah,
finish. Oh man,
Scorpion wins.
So
Taylor's fighting sleep though.
I'll go ahead. I just have one quick one. So the very first scene where we meet Fire Fists, I don't remember anyone's name.
Liu Kang.
Fire Fist. Oh no, are you talking about Liu Kang?
The guy that shoots fireballs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
I said right at the beginning, so I thought she was talking about earlier in the film. But anyways.
And then so we meet him and we're in the little temple, and Xiaolang, Black Eye guy.
Shang Tsung.
Oh, Shang Tsung.
Oh, Shang Tsung, yeah.
So he comes, and then so he shoots this fireball at him, and he just like slightly moves out of the way and dodges it. And then he does this really bad acting thing where he's just like, and I didn't know who this character was. I thought he was blind. I was like, is he trying to figure out what happened where he is?
Because his eyes too are just black.
No, not him. The Fire Fist guy. Like his acting was just so bad. Like it was so bad that I actually Googled if this guy was supposed to be blind and like had fire fists. That's how bad. So when you rewatch this scene, when you rewatch this movie, please look for this scene and just when you see it, be like, okay, what the hell is he doing? Honestly, it was so bad it took me out of it. I had to make a note on it. That was my last kind of shout out. Everything else we've talked about. So Taylor's camera is even going darker. Like he's
trying to work on the host thing.
I'm going to the outward world.
Remember in the host when she puts on that screen where it makes it looks like she's there? He's trying to do that. He's gonna put a version of just like Taylor looking like this. And then he's actually sleeping though. But Taylor, you lead us off. What do you I should have ended with you, but you know what? Let's give you a little kick here. What are you giving this movie out of 10?
Oh God. I don't know if it's the sleep talking or it's just my all-time high of this movie, but this is an easy 10 out of 10.
Right up there with Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, this movie has so many awesome things and elements that
there was Suicide Squad.
There's so much that I grew up with, just with these old kind of martial arts, like wacky kind of dialogue and just kind of story driven films that just compiled, and this film just had so many of those different elements absorbed into it, and I love it for what it did, and I love how we got this kind of lore. What's up?
Oh, two things. Kirklin switched his screen. At one moment, he looked like a Game of Thrones character, like the way the darkness was lighting him. So there's that. Two, I can't remember because we're in April now. I'd have to look at the list, but do you think this is your favorite movie of the year so far?
Oh, it's
easily
top 3.
Yeah, Wrong Turn in there for you. We've had
no.
That's when you know it's bad when because I didn't ever listen to your review for Wrong Turn, so you did not like that movie, so that's not good. Yeah, I can't remember what other movies we've
Godzilla and Kong.
What Godzilla vs. Yeah, so which one you like better, this or Godzilla and Kong?
That's a tough one. I have to come back to that.
I don't think you gave Zilla a 10 out of 10.
He didn't, but this is the Suicide Squad BVSing again, where BVS is like higher rating.
Everything is individually ranked. If I'm ranking them to like comparison, it'd be different ratings.
Okay, I'm gonna guess out here. I'll go next because I think mine might be the lowest here. I'll go 6 out of 10. I was rocking like a 7.5 for a while, but it was just kind of that back half. I've already given you the reasons as far as kind of rushing homework feel, trying to get to a sequel, just kind of get any water out of that tap you can. Like, oh, you want some more? And I do want some more, but I also think you should end the movie properly. And I don't think it did, but I enjoyed my time. I probably will watch this again one day. I just don't think there's an immediate future where it's like, well, you know, in a few weeks, I'm going to get that craving. There might be a craving for me to YouTube some scenes or think about some stuff, but, and maybe I will watch it again one day, because if I like a movie that I've passed it and it was almost a 7.5, if I watch it again, I might have a good feel, but you know what? It was enjoyable time. So, yeah, a 6 point, or just a 6, actually. There's no points here. 6 for me. So, Jessica, what would you give this movie?
You know, I'll pick up your slack. I'll give it, you know, that 7.5-ish area. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't like the rating system per se because, you know, look at Taylor. He thinks Godzilla vs. Kong is comparable for best
Don't
movie
use
of the
me
year,
as a reason not to like the rating system. You use your own personal perspective.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I could like this movie and think it's a 10 out of 10, but comparable to another movie that I did also like, but give a lower rating. So I just think the rating system's hard that way. So that being said, you know, I don't think that this movie is a slight pass. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but I think it's a really fun watch. I think that if Matt, you know, wants to watch it tomorrow, I'd probably be like, you know what, I'll sit on my phone and like, you know, come in and out and watch it again. It's definitely one of those ones where you can grab the popcorn and you can talk with someone while you're watching it and just have a good time and make fun of it and pull out the one-liners. And overall, I like that you don't have to be too serious. You don't have to sit and focus on every single second of it. You know, if you look away for a second, you can come back to Kano just yelling, "What the fuck, mate?" and continue on with the movie.
Yeah, I think this would have been a real fun theater one too, because I think you would have had fun of people laughing at stupid jokes or being like, oh, and so because I remember like when I watched Venom in theaters, I had a really good time. But any time I've watched Venom out of theaters, it's not been a good time. It has not been fun at all. So I feel like watching with a bunch of people, crowd could have even enhanced the experience for this one. So yeah, that would have been great, but a missed opportunity there. So Kirklin, you're ending us off. What would you give Mortal Kombat 2021 out of 10?
I would give this movie an 8 out of 10. I really, really liked it. I thought all like the fighting choreography was just very pristine. It looked awesome. Like I was shouting out those like Hanzo with the rope and kunai scenes. Like I loved all of that. It looked so good. And I just really like majority of the characters. There's some like I was originally thinking like 8.5, honestly, but like look what they did to my boy Raiden and like my boy Shang Tsung, and it's just like really wasn't impressed there.
It's not a B plus, but a B is respectable. You know?
No, exactly. Because
room to
I
improve.
And like I said, I really, really liked Kano. I really liked Sonya. Like I liked those interpretations of the character, and I really, really, really liked the like Hanzo Scorpion. Like especially at the end when he was wearing like the hood and just popping off that Ghost Rider stuff. Taylor wasn't the only one just juicing at that scene. I was totally eating that up. I loved all of that.
Oh, don't say juicing. That just makes me think of some videos out there.
But yeah, I am hoping for a sequel. That's for sure, and I definitely will be rewatching this because it was a fun watch for me. Like the story whole like plot holes. I do this with a lot of things that I have issues with. I just filled it in with my own headcanon. I'm like, this is the way it works for me, so I'm just gonna enjoy it that way.
If you do watch it soon enough and you remember, please let me know about the scene.
The blind,
yeah, because it was one. It was so bad, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, no, I definitely will be on that because I mean overall I really like Liu Kang in this. I thought he looked shredded, like when he was like fighting Kano there. I thought he looked just so good. The classic monk look, where he's just so like lean and just so fucking shredded. But I will be looking out for his eyes.
Can they do anything with the hat now? Like, can it be given to someone else to be used, or is the hat just garbage?
Well, they'll need it for when he comes back.
Yeah, exactly.
Good point. Good point.
That's my theory. Yeah, they'll keep it, and then one day the hat will just start to rise out of the ground, and he'll be under it. And
they're gonna hit Shang Tsung in the gut, and he's gonna get winded, and all the souls are just gonna spew out and come back.
They actually just use it as like a fucking toilet, like while they're on their adventures and stuff like that. Like they just but they don't tell Lou. Just everyone else uses it, and they just disrespect the guy's memory. So,
well, it's like at a lumber yard, just cutting down trees.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we almost went a full 2 hours here. I'm surprised, Mortal Kombat, but we did it. 2021. So, I think we're all in the same boat that we hope to get some more, but if not, we enjoyed our time with it here. We hope you enjoyed your time with this review. Check out next week. There'll be a newscast. There'll be Saw retrospectives. Those have been dropping to get us ready for Spiral, because I think that's the next like big movie we have. Hopefully, they announce some Canada VOD here soon, because all the previews still just say in theaters only, but a lot of other ones like this have said that, and then we get VOD. So, hell or high water, we will find some sort of way to review Spiral if we can get it here. So until then, it'll not be boring.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Farewell.
Flawless victory.